about, you know, what everybody else is canceling or postponing and moving. You know, are we giving any kids false hope? And I guess what I look at it is that kids are going to be playing sports this fall, whether we like it or not. Kids are going to be playing. And if it's not in a school sports setting, I can guarantee you it will be in a travel club AAU setting. I have asked the governor's office point blank, is we're what-ifing scenarios that if we're not able, if we move back, for example, to phase 3, and school can't happen anywhere in our state, sports can't happen anywhere in our state, do you have the ability to manage and mandate that sports like football and volleyball and soccer can't go on this fall? And I get really blank looks and stares, because the answer to that question is a clear and resounding no. So if kids are going to be playing this fall, I truly believe that the one and the most safest place they can do that is with their schools, because we have small groups of kids already in defined pockets and pods of athletic teams, working with the same coaches who in many cases are professional educators. And if they're not, now with our new coaches having to go through coaches education, I firmly believe that our kids are going to be safest with somebody connected with the school than they are with Alex, the AAU guy, or Tommy, the travel ball dad. I believe that with all of my fiber, and that's the reason why we are hanging in there and making plans as we currently are. I've had superintendents tell me, who have already made that move to starting the school year online, that they are looking forward to having kids back on campus to play sports, because they believe that they can learn some valuable lessons about how to do this safely and properly when they now hope to bring students back on campus later in September or into October or later. They believe that kids by a defined team, and by the way, there isn't, until we're in school, there isn't much mixing with your golf kids, with your JV soccer players, or with your freshman football players, or with your cross-country kids. There just isn't. And if it does start out sports only, these superintendents have shared that, you know what, it's kind of intriguing to see what it's like to bring back kids in already defined groups with the same adults every day to see how we can do this safely and properly. What these same superintendents have shared privately is that the reason that their districts are starting the year online is more to deal with issues in politics with the adults, whether that's instructional staffs or other bargaining groups, than what it really is even necessarily on the health and safety data. There is a lot of fear out there in our society, which I think just gets fueled by social media, and that's a reality that right now we're all dealing with. You know, I've used it in a lot of different media things that I've done. You talk about, we're going to do, and we're going to put the health and safety of everybody first. And I think it's important that we all qualify that by saying that health and safety just doesn't mean COVID. More and more of the research that I'm reading, in getting that from a lot of the medical professionals that we listen to, is the strain of the mental health issues that our kids are now facing going on month number 5 with almost no sense of normalcy whatsoever. It's becoming a bigger public health issue than what COVID is, especially in those in that age group that tend to be at our lowest risk group. And by the way, I think it's also a mental health issue for a lot of us adults that really get our energy and get who we are in working with young people. I don't think that we can forget that the health and safety isn't just doing what we can to mitigate COVID, but it's really the health and safety of everybody involved. And I really think that the reason we've gone all summer with 700 plus high schools, bringing kids back on campus to do summer conditioning and training in small pods and in groups of kids in teams, has been largely successful, because we're following the guidance and the regulations that we've put together in that return to activity plan for this summer. So I offer that up as well. And then last but not least, you know what, if districts decide that they can't do school in person and we can't do sports in person, I understand why you would make those decisions. I just worry that in those communities that tend to be more affluent, that those in the affluent communities, they can figure out a way to manage how can kids continue to do online school during the day, and we make that work. And those are the same families that will figure out a way to get my kid plugged in to that travel, that non-school, that club athletic activity this fall. Our most at-risk kids, who I believe need some semblance of normalcy more than probably any other group, you know what? School sports might be that one thread of normalcy that can keep them going when everything else in their lives is so doggone uncertain. Take some of our most at-risk kids academically and put them in a 100% virtual online learning environment. I have doubts that we're going to be able to overcome the challenges with that young person. And wouldn't sports be that one thing that would be that actual live connection to the school that could keep that kid and other kids like that going and moving forward? So that is a part, again, of the whole affluent part of this too, that sometimes I think some of our communities that have some of the biggest challenges need school sports more than anything. You know what? In these crazy, uncertain times, I just believe that the one piece of normalcy that I think we can give kids safely and give them first. And yes, I get the optics of this, of, well, you're doing sports, but it's not safe to have kids here on campus. I realize that in normal times, all of us would find that incredibly difficult to get past. But these are not normal times for any of us. And sometimes when we are put in times that we haven't seen in nearly a century, sometimes you got to look at issues a little bit differently than what we normally would to try and give kids something, as well as us adults, something to keep us moving forward.